Hey, what's going on, guys? So, last weekend, 2 weekends ago, I went to a huge convention in Ohio called TORGs, and it is awesome. Earlier in the year, I did a video on the other convention, TORGs. I know their naming is kind of crazy over there, but I got some monstrous pickups at this convention. I will say this convention is a little bit different than the ones I normally go to, but as you can see from this stack of stuff behind me, I got a bunch of stuff. And one thing I got was like a Grail for me. I mean, like a freaking Grail big time. And usually I just say like, hey, I got a good deal on it or whatever. But I got a monster deal, the kind of deal where I'm literally gonna say how much I spent because like it is nuts what I did with this deal. But without any further ado, let's talk about this convention, show you some footage about it, show you what it was all about, and then show you my pickups. So, silly me, I usually like to kind of make a connection with the people putting on conventions, if they'll have me, and let me be a guest, maybe have a panel, or at least let me get in early so I can like kind of film a before and after. I love to show a convention getting ready and then the convention in full swing. I was not able to do that this time, especially because I wasn't actually sure if I was going to be able to make it. So that's kind of a little bit of a bummer, but man, this convention is pretty damn cool. A couple of things that stood out to me, like a lot of these cool conventions, they had a free arcade. This one was very small, though. Another thing that was weird about this one, though, I've never seen this at a convention before, is they had like a tattoo area where they had local tattoo artists coming in and giving people like sick video game ink or just tattoos in general on the spot. I mean, I don't know. I'm not brave enough to get a tattoo kind of like just in a convention hall, but still pretty cool, pretty neat, a little weird and definitely a little different. As you can tell, the crowds were huge, but this convention is a little different than the ones I've been to in the past. Typically a lot of these conventions are in like a convention hall where they have rooms for panels and stuff. This one was more of an expo hall. Think of like a cattle auction. So like it has its pros and cons. One, this area is massive, so there are tons of booths, a lot of room for people, and as you can tell, there's a ton of people here. A lot of room for booths and sales and deals, awesome for like that flea market feel, but panels did not work out too well. I mean, it was so loud in here that you can't really concentrate on one thing, and you could be listening to a panel and all of a sudden they start announcing like prizes and stuff for like a drawing. Kind of a pro and a con. I mean, as far as like a place to hunt deals, this was like one of the best conventions I've ever been to. But as far as like the full convention experience, it's a little different. I will say different. I'm not gonna say good or bad. It's just definitely a different vibe. That said, a lot of my cool YouTube friends had tables and were guests. In fact, here is all the stuff from my good friend, Gamer Aimer, Brandy, huge friend of mine. It was really cool to see her stuff here, to see her table. Her panel was pretty neat. I mean, it was really cool. It's nice to see people. I love hanging out with my friends and stuff like this, especially when you don't get to see each other too often. Of course, you cannot talk about a convention without video games, and just like any good convention, this place had a ton of video games, a lot of deals, and you will see what I picked up later on, but I will say that I went less hard on the games and more hard on different stuff, and you'll really see what I'm talking about at the end, but some of the booths that were here were friggin' awesome. Like this one, for instance. This is like these cool video game vinyl record guys. I have a huge vinyl collection, and I must have stopped by this booth like 100 times, but I got some really cool convention exclusive albums here. This was one of my favorite places. I think I went the whole time. I bought a bunch of stuff, my friends bought a bunch of stuff, my friends bought a lot of stuff. This was a great one. This was a really cool place to stop by. And of course, I'm not going to talk about going to any kind of convention without showing off the custom art of people. I always think that's the best part of these conventions. The labors of love, the stuff that people make themselves. I mean, this kind of stuff is really cool, really comes from the heart. You never know what you're going to find here. It could be like custom shirts or body pillowcases or jewelry or who knows. But I'm always a huge fan of stuff like this. It's just really stands out to me. Also, these guys, man, I have seen them at a couple conventions. They make custom Sega games. Typically, they're like either ROM hacks or translations for games we did not get here in America. But they spend a lot of time making really cool art, really cool custom shells, cases. I mean, everything they do is top notch. But this I really had to show off. It's like a fiber optic sign that was custom made by a guy. I mean, you know, these fiber signs are pretty expensive, the legit ones, but yeah, as you know, Sega never had one. So someone actually made this thing, and just like seeing it operate on the outside and the inside was super cool. His price, pretty steep, but overall, it's just a very awesome thing to show. But yeah, that's TORG in a nutshell. I mean, like I said, it's different than a regular convention. They have all the stuff for a regular convention as far as panels and things, but I recommend this more of like a big, really cool retro gaming yard sale. That said, let's check out my pickups because I got some really cool stuff, and like I said earlier in the video, one item is a Grail for me, so let's get into that right now. So I gotta talk about my pickups now. I have a lot of stuff I got at this convention. Now, the first thing I'm not really gonna go big into detail in, because I'm probably gonna do some unboxings, is if you know or not, the GameStop had a huge deal, and my good friend Brandy, Gamer Aimer, hooked me up with the Street Fighter and the Callisto Protocol Collector's Editions. Also, Bandai Namco had a huge deal on their Collector's Editions, so I got One Piece Odyssey. I'm going to now move those away so I can properly show you the other stuff I got just in better detail. So the first couple things I want to talk about is this cool Chaos figure from Sonic Adventure 1. It's just a little figure, nothing special, but I got it for just a couple bucks. But this Game Boy Pocket, I got a great deal on it. I actually got it well below the asking price. And the reason I picked it up, not that, you know, it's anything special. I have, you know, better ways to play Game Boy games, but I'm actually going for a full collection of original Game Boy Pockets. So like I think it's 6 or 7 colors. This is number 5 for me. I think I'm just missing silver and green, but hopefully I'll be getting those soon. But yeah, I thought these two were pretty good snags, but up next is something I'm a huge fan of. So if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you know I'm a huge video game vinyl collector, and Channel 3 was there with some really cool convention exclusive albums. We have obviously like this cool, it's kind of holographic, Guilty Gear, like huge set, comes with like a book in it and all sorts of stuff, and then kind of like these vaporware, you know, retro wave renditions of I think this is Trials of Mana, and obviously Final Fantasy VI. I think these are both cool. It's Mana Wave and Esper Wave respectively. These are awesome. Like I said, I really do like to display my vinyl, so these are going on the shelf immediately. But I'm so glad I could pick these up, and like I said, they're convention exclusive, so the fact that I got them is just amazing. They do not sell these on their website. Now, this was the item I was talking about that was a Grail for me. If you've been watching my convention videos lately, for some odd reason, I keep coming back with like rare and weird Dreamcast controllers, but this thing is something I have been looking for a very long time. This is the Twin Stick controllers. I have one for the Sega Saturn, but not for the Dreamcast, and this thing is super cool. I mean, they typically go for between like 150 and 125. Now, like I said, I have to talk about the deal I got. I'm gonna use numbers even though I normally don't, because it was crazy. I mean, like, the guy was willing to let it go for this price, but it just feels like I got one over on him. He had a price tag of 85 bucks on it, which automatically to me is a pretty good deal. But of course, I walk up and go, "Hey man, what's your best price you got on this?" He's like, "Hey, you know, 75 bucks. Pull out my wallet. I go, "Hey man, what do we do if it's cash?" He said $65 cash, and as I'm pulling it out, another guy walks up and like he goes to like kind of grab at it like he's gonna buy it. So I like quickly hand the money over to the guy. He's like, "Oh, are you getting this?" And I was like, "Yep." And the guy's like, "Yeah, I just sold it." And so I'm walking away. I mean, I just scored this awesome controller for essentially half price or less, and then I noticed that it had a VMU in it. And, you know, by themselves, like, this is like going up in price. Like, I'm not saying it's like a huge addition, but like for free, I mean, you know, these could go between, you know, as cheap as a crappy, nasty one for $5, and I've seen them like sold for $20 and sometimes $25. So I mean, this is a huge deal for me. Essentially, let's just say this is on the medium side at 15 bucks. So free 15 bucks. I paid 65. I mean, you might as well say I got this thing for $50. So, I mean, in my mind, it does not get any better than this. This is a huge Grail for me. I cannot wait to do some videos on it. I'm actually thinking about doing a video on weird Dreamcast controllers. I obviously have the keyboard for Typing of the Dead, the light gun for House of the Dead. I have like the fishing rod, and now I have this. If you guys want me to do a video like that, let me know in the comments down below, because I think this thing is cool enough that it warrants it. So what do you guys think? If you're in the Ohio area, is this a convention that you have gone to, or is this something that interests you maybe for next year? I think it was personally a very cool one. Like I said, it's a little different. It's not like your normal convention with, like, you know, a convention hall with like, you know, like rooms for panels and stuff. It was kind of like a really badass yard sale. But hey, that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you went down there. I'm really interested to know in the comments down below. And hey, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't, please do. It would be awesome. But as always, my friends, take it easy.